Before we dive in, here's another show you can enjoy in the True Story FM family of entertainment podcasts.
Well, howdy folks, my name is Lester Ryan Clark.
And I'm Keenan Diaz.
And we're the hosts of The Exorcist Minute, a show where we examine, extrapolate, and excavate the scariest movie of all time.
Each episode covers a single minute of William Friedkin's 1973 horror masterpiece, The Exorcist.
If you like deep dives, this show is the deepest.
Did you know the film's iconic theme song, Tubular Bells, wasn't written specifically for the movie?
Or that the 1973 audience members were throwing up and fainting in the theater before they ever got a glimpse of the demon?
Or what about all the crazy on-set mishaps, cast injuries, the director firing real guns?
Ooh. Ever wonder where Ouija boards came from or how they got their name? How about some history on the Catholic Church or the Roman rite of exorcism? Or maybe we can tempt you with some juicy demonology lore. Did you know that Pazuzu had an ex-wife? Find The Exorcist Minute on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to your shows or at theexorcistminute.com. Until next time, folks,
the power of The Exorcist compels you.
Ever wonder what bridges the gap between your favorite film genres, subgenres, and movements? CinemaScope is here to explore these connections, taking you on a thrilling odyssey through the ever-evolving art of cinema. I'm your host, Andy Nelson, and in each episode, we embark on a deep dive into the forces that sculpt the world of film. From the styles you know and love, like heist films or the French New Wave, to the ones you may not be as familiar with, like Turkish Yeşilçam or Brazilian Nordwesterns, my expert guests and I unravel the complex tapestry of storytelling, style, and innovation that defines the world of film as we unpack the myriad catalysts of change that shape these diverse styles. Whether you're a student of film, a creative professional, or simply a devoted movie enthusiast, CinemaScope is your gateway to a richer, more immersive film experience. Don't just watch movies, understand them, appreciate them, and revel in their artistry with CinemaScope. Subscribe today.
Coming up on The Devil's Details, Damn Faustus, spelled D-A-M. Yeah, you're going to learn what that means. So it's Dr. Faustus Act 2. Good morning, Star, and welcome to another episode of The Devil's Details, a show where we dig up, decipher, dissect, and deconstruct the many forms of the devil. One of my names is Lester Ryan Clark.
And I sometimes go by Keenan Diaz.
And we're just two lost souls hitchhiking down the highway to hell. Last time, folks, you'll remember we began our examination of the man, the myth, the legend, Johann Georg Faust. John Faustus. Dr. John Faustus. In Christopher Kit Marlowe's play, Dr. Faustus. The historical tragedy...
The tragical history.
The tragical history of the life...
And death.
And death of Dr. Faustus, M.D.
Theology D?
T.D.
T.D.
Messed up doctor. Anyway. You'll remember, folks, the play opens up with our good doctor in the midst of a crisis. Like all graduates, he is questioning the point of his degree. And, like all humanities graduates, he is doing so in a monologue. Mm-hmm. He reflects that being the smartest man in the room is not all it's cracked up to be, especially when the room is a dusty old study and you are the only one in the room. He resolves then to turn his attention to the darkest of dark arts. But since podcasting hadn't been invented yet, he settles on necromancy.
Hey-o.
Hey. We're punching up or sideways.
Punching ourselves in the dick.
Punching us. Why are you hitting yourself?
Because I'm a podcaster.
That's what I do. To learn this also very dark and time-consuming art, he enlists the aid of Valdez and Cornelius, two fellow scholars rumored to dabble in black magic, and who definitely have a podcast in another time. All right, what would they be talking about?
They have like their own, like The Office ladies or It's Always Sunny, so they're just doing podcasts about Faustus's podcast.
Like him and Mephistopheles last time. I don't know. I think there's something between them. What do you think?
I don't know if I buy that. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, can I blow your mind right now?
Go ahead.
Turns out the Earth isn't the center of the solar system.
Oh, how do you know that?
Well, this crazy guy named Galileo. He said it, and he almost got arrested, which means it must be true if the government doesn't want us to know about it.
Oh, well, that brings us to today's message break. This is for survivalist packs, everything you need for 16th century survival in case the government comes in and puts your family in camps, and you're like, wow, this is vastly superior to the house I have now.
Yeah. And another word from our sponsor, plackets. If you want a place to store your fleas and your chapbooks, try plackets today.
Man, I have not read a chapbook since I was a kid.
Well, you ought to give it a try. Just like loosen up. Like kind of release that inner child, right? That inner child who's going to die of scurvy and coal lung. Yeah.
Nothing can be done.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Absolutely. And he's a sinner. That's why. So yeah. No.
And Valdez and Cornelius' laughter is as smug as ours, but they're from the past, so it's much worse.
Yes. They actually say guffaw. There's no LOL. It's GOL. Right. Okay, but no. These two sorcerers vow to help Faustus down the left-hand path and promise him a bunch of things which they suspiciously do not have. But Faustus is blinded by the promise of wealth and power and vows to conjure that very night. Later that night, true to his word, he summons Mephistopheles, a devil who is, ironically, burnt out and just wants to go home and be with his cat. That's Mr. Mephistopheles, if anybody's wondering. And he's actually not a cat. He is a guy dressed like a cat in a cute little tuxedo onesie. And he still behaves very much like a cat. He's always knocking Mephistopheles' cups off the counter.
His goblets.
Right, yeah. And crawling up on his lap when he's working, right? And he'll start to meow when he's hungry, but it's just a man's high baritone ringing through the apartment like, meow! Meow! Very, very clear, very enunciated, right? You can hear every syllable, even from the cheap seats. And by cheap seats, I mean the folding chairs at Mephistopheles' dining table. He still sheds, which is weird, because he's definitely a guy in a costume, but Mephistopheles loves him anyway.
Yeah, he understands that he's an actor, but he still likes having that affection. It's like when Queen Elizabeth would go to see Shakespeare. I know you're just pretending to like me and to love me, but I know you're just some guy in a woman's suit, but yeah, I appreciate it all the same.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's well, I was gonna say it's the thought that counts, but it's the exact opposite. It's the illusion of thought that counts. Yeah. But now Mephistopheles can't go home because he's got to deal with this guy, this doctor, who wants to hire him full time and have him be his servant and wait on him. And something about the moon. And one of these days, Faustus. One of these days. Yeah. But actually, Mephistopheles can't take on this new client without clearance from the boss, a.k.a. Lucifer, a.k.a. Papa Satan, because I don't care what Peter Binsfeld says. They're the same guy.
And he came later anyways. So.
Yeah, he did. Well, actually, funnily enough, it's like around the same time.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did that thing where 1500s and 16th century mean two different things, but they're the same thing.
Yeah, that's just do the thing, Just have it be, have 2024 be part of the 20th century. Let's just do that.
Oh, that would take me back.
Yeah.
I haven't been in the 20th century since I was a kid. I tell you.
Same. Now it's like, I'm trying to download something on my computer and I'm like, what is this? The 20th century? Internet Explorer? Come on. But no, actually, folks, we meet the 7 deadly sins in this portion, and I was surprised because I was like, wait a minute, we just learned about like who the princes were and everything like that.
Right.
But apparently, this was written around the same time, like almost exactly at the same time, or a little bit before Peter Binsfeld's thing became popularized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there you go. Anyway, Mephistopheles goes off to check with Lucifer, leaving Faustus to reflect on his new business partner. He says, "Had I as many souls as there be stars, I'd give them all for Mephistopheles."
Aww.
Strictly business. This is a business relationship. That's all it is.
Right. It's transactional.
Yeah, it's like this is going to be what he's really saying. Like he's looking out into the audience. It's like, this is going to be the best merger. This is going to help my career so much. And those eyes. I mean, eyes on the prize is what I meant. Yeah. Yeah. And folks, that is where we said Act 1 of Text A ends. But I actually did a little bit more research. Apparently, there's even more versions of this goddamn thing. So I thought the reason that the scenes were numbered differently was because one of them was the A text and one of them was the B text. But no, I've been looking at 2 A texts published at different times.
That's right.
So one of them was published around today, the 21st century, and one of them was published in the 20th century, all the way back then. So, and they just like, this is the stuff that makes me mad. It was like, everything's just higgledy-piggledy. Like you don't, like this scene goes over here, this is Act 3, or this is scene 5 of Act 1, or scene 1 of Act 2. Like,
yeah. I guess, what we should have done is sent each other the text that we're reading from, because I'm reading from elizabethandrama.org.
Okay.
And they have a really good annotated text, and but yeah, sometimes in the annotation, it's this guy who runs this, Peter Lukacs, saying like, most people say this should go here, but I'm putting it here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's explaining, like when he's making an unpopular decision or when he's against the grain.
So now we got this guy as well is contributing, like he's got his version.
Right. So to give you an example of this, it says, the tragical history of Dr. Faustus, open parentheses, the, open quotation, A, close quotation, open parentheses, short, close parentheses, text, close parentheses.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know if it's like, it's the A text, but that's in quotes. Like, yeah, sure it is. Wink.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's short.
Yeah. All right. It's like you're feeding it into AI with all these brackets and parentheses and everything like that.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, yeah. So that's where we ended last time. That was our Act 1, and so now we're getting into Act 2, Scene 1. Okay, so we are back with Faustus, and he is having second thoughts. And that good.
Oh wait,
angel,
good.
What?
Have second thoughts.
Yes, right.
Wait, please, Faust, have second thoughts.
I almost forgot who we were rooting for, and I was like,
oh yeah, I guess we belied our allegiances.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Your opinion, Keenan, on this guy, right? Because I mean, I think I said before, my favorite story of all time is Christmas Carol, and I root for Scrooge, right? And I feel like he's a dick in the beginning, and I'm like, yeah, but we can fix him, right? What is your opinion on Marlowe's Dr. John Faustus? Like forgetting, like Goethe and all the other Faustuses.
Yeah, I do like this version, but it's partially because he's presented with the way out very, very quickly, which is to turn back and love God, and that's what this is going to happen in this scene, and repeatedly, and he just can't, and I find that fascinating. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting take on it. It's not like he hasn't heard of Jesus the Christ or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. Okay, all right. So an interesting, complex, fascinating character. Would you hang out with him?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I don't think he goes out.
Yeah, he kind of does. He only it's just Valdez and Cornelius. That's his social circle, I guess.
But it's
his
always
social
the same,
pentagram.
Right. But it's you all can come over to my house.
Right. Yeah.
It's never that he wants to go to your house.
Yeah. I imagine Valdez and Cornelius's houses are messy as shit.
I guess I imagine them living in one house like Bert and Ernie, but there's no reason that they should.
Yeah. So he is having second thoughts, and we're like, oh, maybe he can be saved, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, those two angels, right, the good angel and the bad angel, appear again, and it's still not a puppet in the A or B text, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it tells, the good angel tells him that it's not too late, and Faustus is like, yeah, and then the bad angel's like, or don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And Faustus is like, yeah, and he calls back Mephistopheles, who is back from Lucifer. He actually had to go to the karaoke bar. And they're all like, what are you doing, man? You're working too hard. And fucking Belial puts his arm around him. And, like, he's singing Sweet Caroline for, like, the third time that night. And Mephistopheles suddenly remembers that even though he hates his job, he hates Belial more. So he pries himself loose, and he makes his way over to Lucifer, who is at this quiet little corner table with Beelzebub, right? They're separated from the rowdiness. And even from a distance, Mephistopheles can tell he is interrupting something. He can see that Beelzebub is about to spill the beans, about to admit his feelings for Lucifer, right? Everybody in the office already knows, right?
Sure.
Except fucking Lucifer. It's like the hottest gossip in hell for like millennia, right? And Beelzebub has been waiting for this night, right? He was going to get Lucifer alone, right, at his little table, kind of wow him with his knowledge of, the different types of sushi, right? They're on their second bottle of sake, which, Beelzebub tells Lucifer it's actually pronounced sake. And Lucifer's like, wow, Beelzebub, how do you know all this stuff? And right here, folks, they're on opposite sides of the table. They're leaning in close now. But right here, Beelzebub's eyes detect movement, and he spots Mephistopheles right as he was turning to walk away. But it's too late. And Lucifer turns around to see what Beelzebub is looking at, and he's like, Mephistopheles, you made it. You said you couldn't come. And he gets up and he gives him a big hug, and Beelzebub's still at the table and he's looking at Mephistopheles, and they both know what just happened or didn't happen. And Beelzebub's like, yeah, Mephistopheles, you said you had work. So Mephistopheles coughs. He's like, yeah, I do. That's why I'm here. This guy came in. He wants to sell his soul. I told him I just need clearance from you. And he turns to look at Lucifer because he doesn't want to look at Beelzebub anymore. But it isn't any better because Lucifer's just stunned. He's like, this is exactly the kind of work ethic we need. It's like we're all out here partying, and you're burning the witching hour oil, man. And he claps him on the shoulder, and he turns back around, and he's like, Biel, didn't I tell you this new kid was gonna go far? And Beelzebub's still just staring daggers at him. He's like, yeah, no, he's pretty unbelievable. And now Lucifer's like, well, okay, before you go back, come, sit with us. Like, have some sake. Did you know that's how you say it? Biel just told me. But Mephistopheles, he looks over at Beelzebub. He's like, actually, I really got to go. I left this guy on hold back on Earth. I'll let you two. And he realized he started that sentence, and now he has to finish it. It was like, finish your sake. And Beelzebub's like, all right. Let us know how it goes. And Mephistopheles is like, of course, Beelzebub. And he turns to go, and he crashes into the waitress. Sushi's flying everywhere. He stumbles past the rest of the guys. Right now they're singing, I Got a Feelin'. And as he pushes through the door and out into the night, he realizes tonight's not going to be a good night. Okay, actually, no. In the play, he just reappears. We don't get to follow him into hell. No.
Right. He goes off stage and then prepares the next special effect and comes back on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Right. And he tells Faustus that Lucifer has accepted his offer of his soul in exchange for 24 years of service. Faustus asks Mephistopheles why Lucifer wants his soul. I don't know. This seems rather late, doesn't it?
Well, they give him a couple of different outs, right? Because we're going to have another couple of those where he could stop at any moment. And yeah. And I have some thoughts about, like, maybe it's like, why do you want my soul? Like, Am I so special? Like, he's saying he isn't, but it's sort of like, tell me again why it's my soul that you want.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, what's so important about little old me? All right. But yeah, and he says he asks why Lucifer wants his soul, but Mephistopheles tells him that Lucifer seeks to enlarge his kingdom and make humans suffer even as he suffers. And yeah, that's actually what the poster above the water cooler says. It says, "Our company loves misery." Down back, in Hell's head office.
Right. That's true of everybody's job, but this one admits it. This one, it's policy.
Yes. Yeah. Ironically, they're the most honest about that. Right. And below that is just like, that little, cute picture of the cat hanging on the clothesline, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like over flames.
Or the hang in there baby cat, but is on a noose instead.
Oh, jeez. Well, yeah.
And there's some little devil cartoon character, and he's like looking directly at you from out of the poster, and he's like, "Hang in there, baby. Get it? Get it? Get it? Get it?" Every time you pass by, it's him audibly saying, "Get it?
Yes.
Get it?"
That was Howdy's contribution. He was like, they won't get it. We have to. Okay, so now it is time to sign on the dotted line. Mm-hmm. Actually, this is a new policy. People kept getting out of it in the past, and then someone gave Lucifer the idea to have a contract. And Keenan, that was Beelzebub's idea, right? Like he had it on the very next PowerPoint slide,
right?
But like he was building it up. He's like, they're in the meeting, right? They're quarterly. I don't know business. Semi-annually.
Well, in Hell, they have a quarterly meeting every week.
Yes, right. So in their weekly quarterly meeting, right? And Beelzebub's like, he's got this great new idea, and he's building it up, right? And he's got his hand on he's like, I mean, it's not like we can have them sign a contract. And the next slide was just going to say, or can we? And he's got his finger on the clicker, but that's right when the new coffee guy, Mephistopheles, walks in with their order from Morning Starbucks. And without thinking, he just looks up and he's like, "Why not?" And the whole meeting turns to look at him. And then Lucifer says, "Yeah, why not?" And he's like, "What's your name, coffee guy?" Mephistopheles, sir. "How long you been with us?" 16th century, sir." "Ah, fresh blood. Well, I tell you what, Mephistopheles, you keep it up, and pretty soon you'll be up there doing the PowerPoints, right, Bel?" And that's the start of it all, right? Mm-hmm. And he also got Beelzebub's order wrong. All right, this is a cream but no sugar, but yeah, whatever.
So what, you got sugar but no cream?
Yeah, exactly.
Ugh.
Yeah.
They're not interchangeable.
No.
Mephistopheles.
All right. That's why he's a bad coffee guy. But such a great businessman. All right. But no. Okay, actually, while the story of Faust is not the first to introduce the idea of a physical contract, it's definitely the most famous one. And pretty much, I would say, inspired everything after it. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that?
I would say so, right. Yeah. I don't know how you don't really do one without a physical contract now.
Right, yeah. Mm. It's like anytime you sell your soul, it's not unless they're turning it on its head. It's like and they'll like make a remark. It's like, "Oh yeah, what do you think we sign a contract? No, we just shake hands." Or something. I've seen that, but it's with the knowledge of like the stereotype is that you sign a contract.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so now in this scene, Mephistopheles tells Faustus to stab his arm courageously and then use the blood to not just sign the contract, but it also seems like he has to make the contract with his blood. Like he's giving him a blank piece of paper. He's like, "Hey, you gotta write, like all the sections and subsections, I guess."
Right.
Luckily, it seems like it's only one sentence. But still.
Yeah, but he's being his own lawyer here because I don't think that having a lawyer at a contract signing was necessarily like standard at this point.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And you got your fancy degree.
Yeah.
You could do anything. You could be a lawyer.
You got your looks, your pretty face. Anyway. Sorry, I interrupted you. Did you have more?
Oh, no. Just that. So he has to do it all. So he has to. The assumption is because he's learned that he doesn't need. Let me get my people to look over this contract that I'm going to write.
Yeah.
In my blood on my arm.
Mm-hmm,
right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but Faustus, I thought you were the smartest man in all of Wittenberg. Surely,
Sure, all of Wittenberg, but Wittenberg is no Dusseldorf, am I right?
Oh, yeah.
Dusseldorf makes Wittenberg look like Franklin upon Main.
And don't even get me started on Köln.
Of course, there is a German city that's just called Worms. But that's
Wait,
not where
really?
we went to. Yeah, Worms.
Worms?
Yeah.
Love it. What do they do for fun in Worms?
Oh, geez, I don't know. I mean, let me look here.
They just wriggle around in plackets, I guess.
Looks like they look at a lot of their old buildings.
Really?
That's
Okay.
about it. I'm sure they're beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they're old,
Yeah,
so they must be beautiful.
they're old and they're still here.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Any listeners from Worms? Just
We love you. We love you.
we love. Yeah.
They know because they're smart. Because if they're in Germany and they're listening, they speak English well enough to
Right. Yeah.
understand why a town called Worms, Germany, looks funny to us. But
Yes, they're smart. They're not from Wittenberg.
yeah, I was trying to remember why I know the name of this city, Worms, because it only has 84,000 people in it. But but this is where there was the Diet of Worms, which is where they declared Martin Luther a heretic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's why it's historically famous. So
Right. And when you say diet of Worms, you're talking about like an official organization
sure.
and not a nutritional routine.
Right. The Diet of Worms is what Valdez and Cornelius are selling you in their podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
The pills that give you the Diet of Worms.
Right. My cousin lost 76 pounds and
I
died.
died. And met the right hand of the Father, I think. You mean.
Yes.
So if you
Yeah,
want that to happen to you.
Take two. My cousin lost 76 pounds and went to heaven.
And you
can
can too.
Just get a 25% discount when you enter in the code Valcorn. There you go. I like these guys now.
Yeah, I like them. Yeah, they're podcasters.
Yeah, right? Oh, yeah. So he's making up the contract. And here, Mephistopheles adds very quickly, he's like, write it in the manner of a deed of gift, which you think I'm joking with this whole office culture, folks, but that was Marlowe's line, and the Elizabethan audience loved it. They were very familiar with this legal term. We still have it today, but only for like specific, like very big things like estate planning and charitable donations. So it's still funny for us, even though we don't know the term very well. We're like, bureaucracy in hell, haha, right? And we might smirk. But the Elizabethans would be like doubled over at this line, slapping their knees, because back then that was part of every single contract, even down to the smallest exchange. It was this annoying, mundane, bureaucratic detail that people were sick to death of seeing and hearing. And Marlowe's saying that it's so evil, even Lucifer and Mephistopheles have to go through this bullshit. And then add to the fact that, back then they used it for like every contract. It also means that Faustus's soul is nothing special, right? And I just love the rhythm of it, right? We're in the middle of the moment. This is it, folks, right? This is the signing of the contract. This is the biting of the apple. And the music is swelling, and then record scratch. If you could just put that down as a gift, please. Right? And Faustus is like, oh, of course. Right? But yeah, so Faustus begins to sign it, but then his blood stops flowing. It congeals. And he's like, what the hell is going on? Like, I can't continue this contract. It's almost as if, I don't know, some force, possibly of good, is keeping me from doing the deed. And Mephistopheles is like, oh, no problem. I'll fetch you fire to dissolve it, right? So the actor playing Mephistopheles leaves to, quote, go get fire, which I thought was kind of weird. I was like, you're a devil. Like, that's like your one party trick, you know?
Right. The first time we saw you, you had fire.
Yeah, you can just snap your fingers, right? But I imagine it's because he needs to leave so Faustus can do his soliloquy, right? Where he wonders at the phenomenon of his blood seemingly not wanting to not wanting him to make this contract. And he also reflects on whether or not his soul is really his own to give. But he doesn't have long to contemplate that before Mephistopheles is back with some fire. They get the blood flowing again. And I've seen, like, in the production, like, it's actual, like, he's got a palm full of fire. And the actor playing Faustus, like, really does, like, stick his arm over it. And you can see it, like, licking around his arm, right? Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, don't try that at home.
No, yeah, actually don't do that. Mephistopheles is a trained devil, and Faustus has already given away his soul. So what does he care?
Right.
Okay, yeah. So they get the blood flowing again, and Faustus finishes the contract. And then, folks, I mentioned this before in our last episode. As he's signing it, Mephistopheles says to himself and us, "Oh, what will I not do to obtain his soul?" And again, Shakespeare rules. Sorry, Marlo.
Shakespeare rules.
Shakespeare rules, right? But he's talking to himself or to us, right? Faustus doesn't hear him. So this is his truth. And this line is in both versions.
Right.
And so this confuses me a little bit. I know I'm having fun with this whole, like, burnt out, quiet quitting Mephistopheles, but that's because when we meet him for the first time in this play, he doesn't want Faustus to go through with this. Like, that's in the play. He tells him to leave off or to turn back, right? Like, it strikes fear into his soul that Faustus is about to do this. And we're going to have another moment in the same scene where Mephistopheles seems incredulous at how lightly Faustus is taking this. And yet, there are also moments in the same scene where he turns to the audience, again, as if he's Ursula whispering to Flotsam and Jetsam. He's like, now I got him. Right. So I'm trying to square this circle. Does Mephistopheles like what's going on or not?
Right. That is one of the great questions of the play. I think it's super fun and interesting that we don't get a handle on this devil character, that, like, we can't pin it down. But I totally understand what you're saying. Where it's like, well, what about the internal logic of it? But yeah, I think it totally puts us on our back heels at the beginning when he's like, "I don't even want your soul, man." And like, oh, and then it makes Faustus have to be like, no, really, take it. Yeah. I think that's super fun. Yeah. And then both of them have these asides, right? So Faustus is like, I would do anything I would give 1,000,000 souls, right, to get this power. And Mephistopheles is like, I would do anything to get this one soul. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I think you're misremembering. Yes. Mephistopheles says basically, like, I would do anything to get his soul. But I believe Faustus is more along the lines of, I would give anything for Mephistopheles.
That's right. Right. Mephistopheles is only after the boy's soul.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yes.
And are we talking about the boy's soul or the boy's soul? I don't know.
Yeah, also this oh geez, I lost my train of thought.
Boy soul.
Boy soul. Maybe that's where I got off of my train of thought. Is that what you're saying?
No. No, I'm I wasn't even joking. I was just going backwards through, like, the things.
I'm sorry, we were talking about the boy's soul?
That was 10 minutes ago.
Wait, the blood.
Yes.
The boy's blood.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right. Our boy Faustus,
so
yes.
The boy Faustus' blood, right? So it congeals, and it's interesting. So if we take it as a given that this is, like, God or God's aside, the good angel or something, God is intervening to congeal the blood, right?
Right.
But God is not intervening so much to cancel the contract or to banish Mephistopheles. It's just slowing it down, right?
Yes.
So if that is God's plan, it's not to make the decision for Faustus. It's just to give him enough time to come to the right decision or the wrong decision.
Right. To have him, it's like literally giving him an opportunity to soliloquize, to reflect. And it's like,
right.
I wonder what this means, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't do too well. I also like that what you're saying. It's like there does seem to be some, like, this kind of, like, standard, not just in this play, but, like, in other stories as well, where it's like the forces of good have to let it fall as it may, right?
Right.
And the forces of evil can they can just get in there and they can like cheat and steal and they can cheat and manipulate and sabotage and whatever because they're evil,
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is something that is, like, across a lot of our institutions even, right? Like, so if you're the prosecutor, you have many more limitations on you in real life, right? Than a skeezy. I don't want to paint defense attorneys as skeezy. That's not my point. But a prosecutor is supposed to uphold these rules, and there's limits to what a prosecutor can do, or a police officer, right, when they're investigating these crimes, or like in war, right? Like a terrorist is allowed to, not allowed, but they blow up all sorts of things they're not supposed to, and then we, in order to win the war on terror, right, we have to do it above board and do it the right way, and not just go and be disproportional just because we can, and blow people up,
willy-nilly,
willy-nilly, like those willy-nilly terrorists,
right? Yeah,
right.
But without thought for others.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
there's like a moral. Yeah. There's a moral imperative there.
Right. We're talking about it. It's weird because it's like we're talking about it as if there are rules and like the quote, and the bad side has like a different set of rules. It's just that they don't have rules.
Right. Right.
Yeah. But yeah, and then you get into kind of like the gray area of it's like that's kind of how we won our independence from Britain,
Right.
We technically cheated.
Right.
But hey.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to, right? You're not allowed to shoot from the bushes, right?
Right.
That's not allowed.
And you're supposed to wear like a bright red uniforms,
right?
And march in a straight line,
right?
And announce you're coming with drums and and whatnot. So we're breaking all the rules,
We were talking about the Western movie in my class, like the genre of the Western. This is to the first years, and we were talking about how like the West is this idea, like America has founded itself, and like, well, part of the job of being American is to expand, right? Like that's really inherent. And I was talking about how, like, one of the reasons why we had the revolution, maybe not the main reason, but certainly one of them was that England had fought the French and Indian War, the 7 Years' War, but in America we call it the French and Indian War. Right. And they had these Indian Native American allies. And so part of the treaty was like, hey, don't let your colonists like push these Indians past the Appalachians, right? And there was like this rule because that was going to provoke a war with France. Like we would be basically like breaking the truce with France, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then in America we're like, they can't tell us what to do. This is in the 1760s, and like, how dare they tell us we can't go in and steal Indians' land like that? Yeah. Like I thought this was a freedom, right? Yeah. This was a freedom. This is what our country's founded on. So that's one of the reasons we had the Revolutionary War, was literally because our Papa UK. Told us to leave the natives alone.
See, folks, in 250 years, we haven't changed. Don't tell me what I can and can't do.
Right.
See, the Brits should have been a little trickier. They should have been like, hey, don't use up all your food in the winter.
Right.
We'll just be like...
right. And it'd be a really good idea if you crossed the river and caught all of our mercenaries at Christmas while they're resting.
Yeah.
Why don't you try that?
In fact, you know what? It's such a good idea. I'm going to make it a decree. Mr. Big Daddy King Pants says that you little betas have to follow him.
Right.
You have to do what he says, because that's what you are. You're little betas.
Yeah, and that's our creation myth.
And then we met with the natives here, and we were so nice to them.
So nice to them.
So nice. And actually, they were having trouble hunting and growing food, and we taught them. No. I'm not even. I can't even joke about that. That's so dumb and stupid. But because that's what was in our old history books, folks.
Right.
Like that's what they said. It's like we helped them. Like
we made friends with Squanto.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. And Thanksgiving was, it's like everybody had a seat at the table, and it was great. Yeah. Pumpkin pie. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, we're not even in the Americas. We're in.
Well, yeah, we had to make it about ourselves.
Yeah. We're not even in England. We're in Wittenberg. Fictional Wittenberg.
Yeah.
Fittenberg. Okay, yeah, but yeah. So Faustus finishes. He signs it, and he literally says, "It is finished, consummatum est," right? Mimicking Jesus' last words on the cross, right?
Right.
It is accomplished. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the question I have. Is like, so yes, it's a joke. Is it ironic? But does Faust know he's being ironic, or is that Marlowe being ironic and Faust doesn't know he's being ironic?
Oh, right. Like, does Faustus have like such an ego that he's going to quote Jesus, like knowingly, or is it like this guy's dumb, but like he doesn't know it, but he actually quoted Jesus?
Right.
Oh, yeah. That's a good question, actually. I guess that's up for whoever's playing Faustus.
Right.
Can be like the the cocky ego guy, or
Right.
Whatever. Yeah. But yeah, almost immediately, words appear etched onto his arm. It says "Homo Fuge," to which Dr. Faustus looks up and he's like, "No, no, no."
No, you.
But no. The meaning is "fly, oh man," right? Like, dude, get out of here, right?
Right.
And at first, he doesn't believe it, but like he can't deny what he's seeing on his arms, right? The words are definitely there, right? This is definitely a warning of some sort. But he laments that he has nowhere to fly or flee. He doesn't think God's gonna take him back at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to flee, he'd have to leave his study.
Right? To flee, he'd have to move into a placket. But yeah, he'd have to leave his study, which he hasn't done yet, folks. Mephistopheles comes back and he's like, "You're like, you haven't even gone out?" It's like, this is your problem, man. It's like,
yeah, get some. Open these curtains up. Get some light in here.
It's like you're pale as death. It's like you're. Right. And I know death.
Yeah,
we play chess on Sundays. Yeah. But no, so here, Mephistopheles whips up some distractions. He says something like I'll give him something to delight his mind, right? And again, he says that to the audience. So he's like, I'm losing it. I'm gonna sweeten this deal. And again, so it's like, okay, so you do want this. You want this deal then, right? And he lavishes Faustus with crowns and fine clothing. He summons some devils to kind of like wait on him. And he swears by hell and Lucifer that Faustus will have anything and everything he desires. And Faustus hands over the contract. That was like the last thing that needed to be done, was to actually give it to him. And in the stage version I saw, folks, like, it's this really tense moment. Everything goes quiet, and then, Faustus walks across the stage and he like pauses and he thinks about it, and then he finally hands it over, like very slowly, very tentatively, and then immediately the energy changes, right? Like everybody sighs, and Faustus and Mephistopheles start like moving again on stage, and it's lighter. It's not as heavy as before, but there's also now this emptiness. It's hard to describe, but they did it so well in this production. Just immediately after that moment, there's this deep sense of loss, even though outwardly nothing has changed, right? Like not even like lighting or music or anything, but just like the attitude of the actors. It's like the tense moment is over, and you feel like this underlying like not dread because it's done, it's over, but like just like sadness. Yeah.
Like his weight, I guess.
Yeah, right. Or the realization that underneath the weight there's nothing. Right. And for the rest of this act, Faustus is trying to kind of like, I don't know, like psych himself back up and be happy, but it just like it seems like really sad and manic. And yeah, so here Mephistopheles is like, okay, ask me whatever you want, right? It's like, now, I'm your servant, 24 years. Go ahead. And Faustus does something really weird, right? Like you'd think he'd want to get as far away from this topic as possible, but now that the deed is done and he's signed away his soul, he asks Mephistopheles, "Tell me, where is the place that men call hell?" And Mephistopheles replies, "Under the heavens." And Faustus says, "Yeah, but where?" And Mephistopheles replies, "Within the bowels of these elements, where we are tortured and remain forever. Hell hath no limits, nor is circumscribed in one self-place. For where we are is hell, and where hell is, there must we ever be." And to conclude, when all the world dissolves, and every creature shall be purified, all places shall be hell that is not heaven. very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Again, reiterating that hell isn't so much a place as it is like absence of God. I wish we knew how the Elizabethans felt about this, right? Like,
Right.
it's an intriguing concept even today. Like, I wonder how they reacted back then, right? But yeah, after this revelation, Faustus sort of kills the mood. He's like, come, I think hell's a fable.
Mm-hmm.
And Mephistopheles is like, well, you're an idiot. Not in those exact words, but like I said before, that the energy changed right after he handed over the contract. And now it changes again. And Faustus gets weird. He starts joking and laughing, but it seems empty and manic. It seems like he has realized what he's done, and now he's trying to laugh it off, but you can see that it's not working. So actually Mephistopheles says, if hell's not real, how do you explain me? I, who am damned. And here Faustus starts teasing Mephistopheles. He's like, oh, being damned doesn't seem so bad, right? If we're sitting here, discoursing, disputing. And yeah, this is where in both versions, I think A and B text, Faust begins to devolve. He becomes petty, childish. He falls more easily to all of like the temptation and the persuasion of Mephistopheles. And it's interesting because, contract aside, it's still his own actions that are damning him. He may have given up hope after handing it over, like the contract, but he's also given up all pretense, and we now see who he really is. And he's just this base, appetite-following child. So much for the great Dr. Faustus that everyone thought so highly of. At least that's the kind of like feeling I get.
Oh no, totally, and that's gonna come across a little later when he's asking for more information, like more knowledge, I guess, right? Because that seems to be one of the things. Is like, hey, I learned everything there was to know in the human realm, and now I've got this demon, so let me know more of that. But there isn't anything else, right?
Yes.
And the only things that would be new are the things that he already knows but won't accept about the nature of God and about the nature of the cosmos.
I love that. And we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. But no, just the idea of like, that was the whole pretense. It's like, I want to know more. Like it's this noble. I'm doing this for a noble reason. I'm in pursuit of knowledge, right?
Yeah, in the movie version that I hope we're covering later, the German movie version, Faust, which is by F.W. Murnau in the 20s, that version positions the story during a plague, like during a real plague outbreak in Germany. Yeah. And so that gives that character a little bit more like, oh, hey, I'm not able to cure the plague on my own, so I need this, like, this good reason, right? So I need to do that. But that's not what's happening in this sort of original tale, right? It just is like I want it because I deserve it, right? Because I'm the smartest person in the world. I am the smartest man in the room, as you were saying. Even though I never leave this room, right?
I won the game of life, but I don't like the prize.
Yes,
I want more.
Right. So it's not really knowledge for knowledge's sake, right?
Right, yeah.
And then there is this fundamental flaw that he has, which is that he is somewhere deep down an atheist, right? And people at this time, I don't think, describe themselves that way. So they would talk the Christian talk, but not walk the Christian walk, I suppose, right?
Yeah,
oh, there's God, oh, there's hell, etc. But he's unable to believe this knowledge that Mephistopheles should be presenting to him.
And it's funny because Mephistopheles is giving him the opposite of what you would expect him to kind of like balk at, in terms of like a definition of hell, right?
Right.
You would think that his response would be like, oh, hell's a fable, to Mephistopheles saying, yeah, it's fire and brimstone and torture, just like the fables say. And then, Faustus could be like, well, I'm a learned man, and I think that's not true.
Right.
But Mephistopheles is actually saying, no, it's not like the myths say. It's more like this. It's more subtle. It's more complex. It's almost a state of mind. It's being absent from God. And still, Faustus is like, pish posh.
Right. Right. I don't know how to position it because it's potentially partially just what Marlowe is trying to do. Like, the point of this is to teach people at home, right, to believe in God and have faith, and you know, but like for in the play itself, I mean, the way the manifest is that Mephistopheles is the mouthpiece for God.
Yes, I think so too. Yeah.
Which again just makes it really complicated and interesting that this is the salesman, or you know, the way that we think of the devil's salesman, like give me your soul, but he's the one who is proselytizing for Jesus more than anybody else.
This is such a great kind of like juxtaposition of, because you have this guy who seems unsavable because he keeps on avoiding being saved.
Right.
It's not he's unsavable because like he has no chance. He has all the chances. And then you have this devil who is laying it all out for him and pointing out, it's like you will never be saved because XYZ. And you don't understand, like, even these things that, like, you gave me your soul, you don't even understand that you did.
Right.
And that almost makes him, like, feel icky. He's like, I thought I would feel better about getting your soul, but you don't, like, you don't even believe in this stuff. Like,
right.
This is almost like you're taking the fun out of it almost.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah. Now, first thing that Faustus asks Mephistopheles for is a wife. Quote, "For I am wanton and lascivious, and cannot live without a wife." So it's not really a wife that he wants. And
Right.
Mephistopheles understands this, right? He's like, you don't want a wife. But Faustus is like, hey, you're my servant. Get me a wife. So immediately, energy has changed. Like now that the contract is signed, he's like bullying Mephistopheles. It's like, hey, I signed, and you're going to do this for me.
Yeah, now that the contract is signed, but maybe even more now that Mephistopheles is like, you know, I taught you what hell is, and you don't want to believe me, and maybe Faustus is like, like I don't like that I've been, you know, buffeted already, so now I'm going to be like,
right.
yeah, screw you, slave, give me things,
Exactly.
give me, yeah.
Yeah, right. It's either that or he gets like really whiny. He's like, "Oh, please, Mephistopheles," like, and we'll see that a little later too. Right? But yeah, again, just like I feel like we're kind of like seeing who Dr. Faustus really is, right? Like after he's, you know, the whole pretense of like, you know, it's like I want this knowledge, but
Right.
no, you want a quote unquote wife is what you want. Right. But yeah, so Mephistopheles leaves, and here is what the text of the play says. Exit. Re-enter Mephistopheles with a devil dressed like a woman with fireworks. And I saw a production of this, and it's this bit of slapstick where this very ugly devil in a dress is chasing Faustus around the stage, and in the production I saw, there were literal fireworks shooting out from between her legs. Like literal, like sparklers. And then Mephistopheles banishes her, and he's like, see, you don't want a wife, you just want a woman. I'll get you all the women you can handle, the most beautiful women in history, as beautiful as Lucifer was before he fell. Also, apropos of nothing, here's a book of spells. Now you can conjure whirlwinds and call up storms and thunder and lightning, right? And this is pre-Enlightenment times, so people will believe you if you say you can control the weather. After about the 18th century or so, people are going to stop believing that humans can control the weather because that's stupid. He looks out into the audience. He finds the camera. That's really stupid. And he turns back and he's like, but this is the 1500s, so we're okay.
Right. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, right?
So he doesn't want the wife, right? So what do you make of that? So, like, is the problem that it's a devil, or did he not really want? I mean, because he's saying like, I want to be lewd, I want to be lascivious, I just want to, you know, I just want to screw something, right?
Yeah.
But apparently not. So is it because it's a devil, or did he not really mean that?
So I'm hearing people say that Mephistopheles can't do it because marriage is a holy sacrament.
I've seen that as well, right?
But I think there's another joke going on here that's a little bit meaner. I think
Okay.
Marlowe is making a joke, kind of like Shakespeare with the Taming of the Shrew. Like he's I think he's saying that once a woman becomes a wife, that they become like what is it, like the like in Sword in the Stone, the two squirrels.
Yeah.
And you have the, you know, the one, you know, like young pretty squirrel who falls in love with Arthur, and then you got the one that falls in love with Squirrel Merlin. Squirrelin. I think that's what they're doing because in the production I saw, like you couldn't tell it was a devil. It looked like a stereotypical gross, large lady who was like all about getting up on Faustus.
Right.
And Faustus wanted none of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like Mephistopheles is like, there's your wife, you know.
Yeah. A punishment worse than hell.
According to Machiavelli,
right? Right. So there you have there. I get it. It's boomer humor.
Yeah.
All right. There
How
we
that
go.
rhymes, yeah. Yeah. But yeah.
Take my wife, please.
No, exactly.
I'm inadequate as a husband. Please take her. She deserves so much better than I can provide. Oh.
See, and we never finish Nietzsche. We never finish. What was the one? The price for sin is death. What was it?
The wages of sin is
death. The wages of sin is death. We don't
that's
finish
the Bible.
that.
Yeah.
Right, and we don't finish that line. Take my wife, please. You know. I want her to be happy.
I want her to be happy, even if it's not with me. Don't you understand?
Before we met, she was going through medical school. Take her back there. Convince her that she can still achieve her dreams.
Don't just laugh. Don't laugh at this. Take my wife. Please.
But yeah, folks, that is scene 1. And you know what comes next. We gotta check up on our boy Wagner, our comic relief. But wait, it's not Wagner. It's his boy Robin. Right? We're already splitting up this dynamic duo.
Right.
Right? And it also looks like some time has passed and some important stuff has happened. I feel like we missed a scene. Like the last scene felt like that as well. The last one with like Wagner, where he conjures up Burke Baccarat and Boy George. Bannior and Belcher.
Right. They start spitting fire everywhere.
Right.
But not spitting fire, like rapping really well.
No. Right. But no, like he summons up those 2 demons with the silly names. But like we never learn how he got that book or how he can suddenly do magic. I think we just assume he stole one of Faustus's books and he bullies Robin or just a clown into like serving him. And we're thinking, okay, right, it's gonna be Wagner and Robin. And now in this scene we got Robin again, but he's the new Wagner. And he's already got his own Robin named Rafe. Like Rafe Fiennes, right?
Right.
Actually, they're both ostlers, meaning they work in stables with horses. Not Rafe Fiennes, he's an actor.
But he could play an ostler.
He
could play anything.
He could play Rafe. Right? He actually, he auditioned for a production of Dr. Faustus, and they gave him Rafe. He was auditioning for Faustus or Mephistopheles, but it was like, no, it's much easier if you're just Rafe.
Right.
Because you're already Rafe.
Right, because none of us know how to pronounce it.
Right.
It looks like Ralph.
Yeah, it looks like Ralph, except in the play, it's actually how it should be. Rafe. It's like, this. Wait, I'm trying to. It's like this is unacceptable. This. No, that's not. I can't do. I can only do him when he's doing Voldemort.
That sounded like Voldemort to me.
I went to. I actually don't know where he went.
Where Voldemort went?
No, he went to Hogwarts. No, where Rafe Fiennes went to study. Yeah, go.
Hogwarts
I went
must
to
have a mascot.
Juilliard. I went to
right after Rada.
Rada. Yes. Thank you. I forgot. I was in character.
I googled what's the Hogwarts mascot, but they only have the 4 houses having mascots and not Hogwarts overall. But
wait, are we stupid? What is their name?
Hogwarts?
No, the team.
The team?
The Quidditch. The only thing that's like 90% of those books is the fucking Quidditch match. What is the Hogwarts team name?
I don't know. Hogwarts Quidditch team name.
But no, they don't have team because they have like the houses play against each other too.
The houses play against each other, right?
But then
so it's the Griffin or the Lion, or rather.
But then like there are moments where it's like Hogwarts versus that one Russian school or that one French school. So what are they called?
I guess they just keep their house name. That's what I'm seeing here. but it's all wrong because it looks like when they play another school. So when they play the American Fitchburg school, that's the Fitchburg Finches.
Okay, the Fitchburg.
Right, but that's what the school is, I think.
So it should be the hog.
Not the house within the school, right?
Right.
Well, it should be the Hogwarts Hogs, obviously.
Yeah. Well, you would think, but Keenan, I'm gonna do the podcast thing again and blow your mind. So the Slytherin mascot is a snake.
Mm-hmm.
The Gryffindor one is a lion, I believe. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The Hufflepuff is a badger, I believe.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the animal associated with Ravenclaw?
Is it a raven?
Why don't you check right now?
What was this? Ravenclaw. This feels stupid to even be typing. What is the mascot of Ravenclaw? Is it going to come up? It's going to be like, you're an idiot. You don't get to use Google anymore.
Better be stupid.
The Ravenclaw house mascot is an eagle.
Uh-huh.
Which is a symbol of strength and
what?
immortality.
Keenan, what? What's
The eagle is associated with Odin. The raven is associated with Odin, isn't it?
No, Keenan, I think you're wrong. No, you're absolutely right.
The eagle.
Uh-huh. Ravenclaw.
The eagle is everywhere. It's not a mistake. It's everywhere. But it's like a black eagle.
Yeah, it's like a black, raven-sized
raven-colored
eagle. Yeah. Yep. There you go. Well, it's because, Keenan, it's because eagles have raven claws. You know. In that they have bird-like claws.
Right. That's what makes eagle special.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's bird-like claws.
Yeah.
All right. Well. All right. So we got Robin.
Uh-huh. And Rafe.
And Robin is. So Robin was the clown in the text, and so that was Wagner recruiting Robin, and now Robin has recruited Rafe, kind of off camera, I suppose.
In the A text, it's Rafe.
Great.
Do you know about the B text?
What happens in the B text?
In the B text, his name is Dick.
Which one? Robin is Dick?
No, Rafe is Dick.
Rafe. Okay, Rafe is Dick.
So there is no Rafe. It's just Dick.
All right. Well, great.
Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah.
So what's going on here?
Actually, no. Sorry. I misspoke. So in the A text, it's Rafe. Mm-hmm. In the B text, it's an eagle. Named Dick.
Named Dick, right?
Named Ravendick. No. Yeah, I don't know why the switch of names, but there you go.
All right. Yeah, Robin is such a loaded name for me, right? Like when you picture a character named Robin, I see a boy rather than a man.
Yeah, even the most adult person with that name,
right,
made a career out of making us laugh like children. You know.
Yes. So, like, I think Christopher
Robin. That's the
Robin
only adult named Robin that I know.
Right, I guess so. They're like, don't call me that. That's like little boy's name, right? No, so here for me, later in the scene where he starts being really nasty, like really lascivious, I was like, oh gosh, he's a man. He's not like a 10-year-old boy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He's an interesting character. I feel like him and Rafe and Wagner, I think they could all be one. character.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, so we get a little backstory. Apparently, Robin stole one of Faustus's books. And now he's doing the same thing that Wagner was doing, right? He fancies himself a conjurer, right?
Right. Robin might have stolen one of Faustus's books that Wagner had already stolen. Like he might have.
Yes. And this is what I'm saying. It's like I feel like we're missing a scene. Like where did Wagner go, and how does Robin have the book now? Is it the same book that Wagner had, or did Robin like go on his own into Faustus's? Did he just leave the door open? Like everyone's just like coming in there, right? Grabbing books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But yeah. So
because he's like he seems, even before there's a devil there, damned to stay within that study. That he'd be like, "Hey, look, I'm taking this," and he's like, "No, bring it back, bring it back." It's like, "No, I'm going over this line. Oh no, it's yours forever now. There's nothing I can do."
If only I could leave these four walls. It's like you literally, like, Mephistopheles hasn't even shown up yet. Like, you can just come out, No. But yeah, so we're with Rafe now. Oh no, yeah, we're with Robin now. And Rafe comes in and he says, "Hey, they got to get back to work. Working with doing whatever ostlers do. I don't know. It's related to horses. Yeah, they ostle." But Robin tells him to hush because he's about to perform like a really dangerous spell. And there's like a bit of back and forth. And Robin promises Rafe that if he cooperates, he'll give him a spell to seduce the kitchen maid, whom we never see, but they made sure to name Nan Spit. That's her name, Nan Spit. So
I believe Nan Spit would mean that she is the spit mistress, that she operates the spit in the kitchen. Yeah.
Oh, so spit like that, not spit like
okay, like spit in your food.
Right.
She probably does both.
I mean, yeah, right. This is Fittenberg, after all.
Yeah, but I believe they would do that. Dehumanize their kitchen staff, and then rather than the master and the mistress learning their names, be like, "Oh, you're the one who operates the oven," or you're the I don't know what other devices there would be, but I think it's like that.
So it'd be like Nan Pots and Nan this and
Yeah, I think sometimes, because I've seen other characters like that. It's like Ma Beans, and she's in charge of the beans, or Ma Meat, or Ma Soup, and that kind of thing.
Or like Long John Silver, they called him Barbecue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was like in Treasure Island, like that was his nickname, was Barbecue.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Demeaning.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm glad he killed them all.
I know,
yeah,
I was just going to say. Also making fun of a differently abled person. It's like,
exactly.
Screw you guys. Screw you, Captain Smollett and Squire Trelawney and all the other jerks.
Right.
Yeah. That treasure was more his anyway, right? Whatever.
But give me the boy.
Yes.
Leave me the boy.
I want the boy's soul. What? No. It's the way I talk. I'm that famous actor. He just like, this is how he talks anyway. What was his name?
The guy who was in Treasure Island, the Disney version.
Yes.
That's just how he talked, and then that's how we think pirates talk now. Yeah.
Right. Wow. God, he's like the Bela Lugosi of pirates.
That's very true.
Yeah. Shit,
what's his name? Robert Newton.
Yes,
yeah.
Robert Newton. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yarr.
Yeah. So Nan Spit, right? And I'm assuming like Nan, I bet they have like a derogatory word for like a younger woman and an older woman, and I'm guessing this is like an older woman who uses the spit.
Yeah, I don't know whether Nan is. Everything seems backwards back then. Maybe Nan means young. I don't know.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
I have no idea. But anyways, Robin is all about her.
Yeah, he wants that Nan Spit. I'm running away from this other joke that I see out of the corner of my eye.
No, he wants to be turned and basted.
Yeah,
yes.
There you go.
Yeah, by Nan Spit.
Yeah. That's a less gross joke. So let's go with that one.
All right.
Yeah. So Rafe agrees. He's like, and now it's these two guys who are going to be our comic relief, right?
Right.
And that's the scene, pretty much. Right. I don't know how I feel about it. Part of me thinks that, like I said, Wagner, Robin, and Rafe could all be just like one character. But I also like that we're seeing the consequences of Faust's actions. Like, we think it's a victimless crime. Like, if Faustus wants to sell his soul, he can sell his soul. It's his business. But like, it's affecting other people as well. I also like that, like what some scholars are saying is that like Wagner/Robin/Rafe scenes are supposed to hold a mirror up to the Faustus scenes. Like Faustus takes himself so seriously, but he's actually just like a fool like these guys. And yeah, I hear that. But none of the productions I've seen really serve that. Faustus is either objectively serious and dramatic, and we're supposed to like view him as such, or he's as silly as these guys. What do you think?
Well, mostly what I think about that comes a little bit later, so I hope I'm not jumping in.
Okay.
But later on, Mephistopheles is going to come and bully Robin and Rafe around for doing this.
Yeah.
But it does kind of point out, so let's think about that when we get back there, but like, again, so they conjure Mephistopheles by accident, but he doesn't want he's not interested in their souls, it seems.
Right.
So is there something special about Faustus' soul in that case? Or, is it like, well, these are ostlers, we can't take their souls.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not worth it, right? They
Lucifer's like, you brought me back a bunch of ostlers?
right. Horse boys? right. This is what you gave me, right? Yeah,
I told you to go get the boys' souls. Yes, you heard me.
Right. So, like, is it like a class? Is it a class thing after all? Even though the play seems to say it's not. Like, it's about just Mephistopheles needs to expand Lucifer's kingdom soul by soul, but he's not interested in Rafe and Robin's soul. It seems like.
I think it's a situation where like they're two kids who accidentally called the dealership, and Mephistopheles like is already aware that they're not. It's a useless like pursuit. Like they're not going to buy a car.
They're not going to buy the car.
Right. Like, it's like they're just like bothering him now. And he's in the middle of like doing the deal with Faustus, who is like purchasing.
Okay, that's interesting.
I think that's what it is. I think like they accidentally called a place of business, and the salesman who like is taking calls is like, oh, you're not even. Oh, you don't even know who you called. Like,
right.
Get out of here. I think that's what it is.
That might still be, even if you're right, which I think that's super interesting. Like, yeah, they're not going to sell their souls. Maybe they already know that, right? But like,
they don't even know. I don't even think they like that concept has even entered their minds. I think they're
right.
I think they're like they literally got a super secret phone book and they're just dialing numbers.
But they have to. I don't know, but Mephistopheles doesn't see that they would sell their souls because, like, here's two people who are like, or three people who are like playing with the dark arts, but that's not enough to tip them into a sale. Apparently, Faustus already wanted it, I guess.
That's a good point. Like,
Mephistopheles is called
because he could be like, oh, like here's a couple of rubes. I could very easily like trick them into
right. It seems like it, yeah. But there's three of them, and he's less interested in three souls than in Faustus's one soul.
Is that a commentary on like they're so innocent that they wouldn't, like it wouldn't work? Faustus is smart enough, even though he's an idiot, he's smart enough to be tricked by Mephistopheles. And he looks at these, guys and he's like, oh no, they wouldn't even remember what I said after I finished saying it.
Yeah, but I tend to read things from a Marxist lens about class, maybe too much, right? But so that that could be a fault of mine. But is it like, well, these are three servants' souls, and this is
right.
a gentleman's soul,
right? Give me the doctor's soul,
right?
Versus like Robin or Rafe or Dick, I don't even know. Yeah, no, that could very well be it as well, right? And it could be like it could be so. Like, without saying that that even the Elizabethans were like, oh, yeah.
Of course, yeah, an ostler's soul.
Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't sniff my nose powder off an ostler's soul.
Right. So, yeah, okay, so it's the shortest scene, and we're just, like, we're going on about.
Well, we're trying to fit, like, why?
Yeah,
why is this here? Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But, okay, moving on, right?
Because it's hard. It's hard. It's like, like we don't want to just say, like, oh, this is for comedic relief, move on. It's the rest of it is so good and so compelling, right?
Yeah.
But that was the Elizabethan theater a lot of times was like, well, now we just have a scene where someone funny comes out. You figure that out.
Yeah. And it's like a combination of like it's like high humor and low humor. It's like in the production I saw like I mean, they're exchanging, like this punnery and this battle of wits, like while, Robin is like, he's got his back to the audience and he's like taking a piss.
Right.
So, yeah. But yeah, okay, so yeah, that's scene 2, and now we got scene 3, and this one's a doozy. This is the last scene of this act. Faustus is having second thoughts again, and we get our so it's not second thought, it's like third thoughts then, right? And we get our good angel and our evil angel again. The good angel tells Faustus it's still not too late. He can repent. Like this isn't really something we explore in later versions of this story. Like once you've made the deal, you're pretty much done, unless unless somebody comes in and saves you or the dealer changes their mind. They the ripping up of the contract, right?
Right.
It's weird to see here in the original story, the whole contract thing is not as permanent. Right? It's not like written in stone, But I like it here because of what happens next, right? We got the good angel saying he can repent, and it's another back and forth, and then the bad angel wins the argument by saying Faustus won't repent. And I like it. It's even deeper than like, oh, repenting's not going to work, so don't even try, right? It's like, yeah, repenting could work, but you're never going to because of who you are, right? That's some good devil argument right there, right? Like, yeah, it's possible, but you're not capable. That's why you're not worthy, right? That's why God won't take you back because you'll never ask, right? And Faustus is defeated by this, right? He sighs and he resolves to stay the course with Mephistopheles. And so now, to distract himself, he's like, okay, time to examine this incredibly expensive purchase I made, right? And so he commands Mephistopheles to tell him all about the sun and the moon and the stars and the heavenly bodies. And Mephistopheles basically like spits his textbooks back at him.
Right.
And this really pisses Faustus off. He says, these slender trifles Wagner can decide. Sheesh, Faustus. It's like, Wagner knows this stuff, and he's an idiot.
Right.
And he says, hath Mephistopheles no greater skill? Who knows not the double motion of the planets, right? The first is finished in a natural day, the second thus as Saturn in 30 years, Jupiter in 12, Mars in 4, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in a year, the Moon in 28 days. These are freshman's suppositions. I like this, right? Like the whole point, at least at first, of Faustus doing magic was so that he could know more than humans know. Like he was thinking he was going to discover some things and maybe disprove a bunch of theories and basically turn the scientific world on its head with all this new and amazing, all these new and amazing discoveries. And Mephistopheles is being like ChatGPT, just like regurgitating what has already been written, right? And we in the 21st century get to have a extra little giggle because also like ChatGPT, he gets it wrong. Right? Because he can only go by what is already known. Right. And so now Faustus is looking at that lifetime subscription he purchased, beyond lifetime because it auto-renews. He can't cancel it, or they make it so difficult that you just give up, right?
No one-click cancel.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's exactly what Faustus does, right? But at least his new Cybertruck looks really cool.
But at least he has a really nasty scar on his left arm to show the ladies. Right,
this wicked scar. Right? Oh, it says Homo Fuge, though. And he's got it like he spends the rest of it like no.
Oh no, that's English for Homo Fuge.
Yeah.
It means look, it's a Mo Fuge. Mo Fuge ho.
Yeah. But okay, I like that angle, right? That Mephistopheles is only giving him what his textbooks provide, right? Not actually giving him like the real stuff. I also like the idea, like you pointed out, that Faustus really does know all there is to know.
Right.
Like the books were right, and he sold his soul for nothing, right?
Yeah.
So either one of those is good.
Yeah, it's interesting to think of like a Renaissance point of view that it's counter to what I think of the Renaissance of like the play is arguing that the real knowledge is the old knowledge, that God is the center of everything and that's the creator and you have a soul and all of that, right? And it's like, I don't want to say like it's conservative or regressive, but but back to basics, I guess. Like no matter what you learn with your fancy books and your fancy degrees, like get back to the basics of it. God made you in his image, right? You don't own your own soul. It belongs to God. It's gifted to you and you have free will and you need to use that free will to get back to him.
Yeah.
Simple. It's easy. Just do that.
Yeah. It's like this is what we've been telling you for thousands of years.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, so now Faustus asks the question, who made the world? And Mephistopheles says, girls. No, he doesn't say it. No. Now it's Mephistopheles' turn to be pissed off. He's like, don't ask me that. And they actually fight. Faustus is like, you promised to do as I command. And he's putting his foot down again. He's like, I'm the master, you're the slave. And Mephistopheles is like, yeah, but not if it's against our kingdom. And he storms out of there, probably literally. But before he leaves, he says, you better start thinking about hell because that's where you're going. And then he's gone. And once again, Faustus has this moment like, is it too late to turn back? And the two angels show up again. Good angel says, no, it's not too late. And now the bad angel is like, if you try to back out of this deal, devils are going to come and tear you to pieces. So he's done like doing the persuasion thing. He's just like, we're gonna fuck you up if you try to back out, right? But the good angels will say, no, God will protect you. And so Faustus begins to pray. This is it, folks. This is the turning point. He's gonna do it. He says, Christ, my Savior, seek to save distressed Faustus's soul. And then the stage direction says, enter Lucifer, Beelzebub, and Mephistopheles. Holy shit, folks. It's the boss. It's Papa Satan. And he's got his companion deer. And also Beelzebub.
So they still reek of sake and, and sushi rice.
Yeah.
They've got it on their lapels.
And Beelzebub's actually like the only one bothering to look like official, right? Like none of this business casual. Like he is all business. He looks scary. He's got the horns and he's got the hooves, but he's also got like some of the fly imagery going on, right? Like he looks like the boss's right-hand guy who gets his hands dirty, right? And Lucifer, like he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt, right? He's super relaxed. But he's got that aura, right? Like where even though he's not trying as hard as Beelzebub, he just like exudes this power, this command. And even Faustus can tell which one is Papa Satan, right? Like,
Right.
It's like saying, clothes make the devil, but with Lucifer, it's like whatever he wears, like he makes it work, right? And Mephistopheles is just dressed like in all his pictures. And that's another thing. I think we need to establish, like Mephistopheles is actually a demon. Like he lives in hell, just like Beelzebub and Lucifer and all the rest. But for whatever reason, he looks like a guy dressed in a 16th century devil costume. And maybe that's just me, but like of all the devils and demons, when you say Mephistopheles, I see what is clearly a guy dressed like a devil, right? In red leotard with a cape and a cowl, right? That goes over his head, and on the cowl is the little horns, right? Like John Lovitz in SNL.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the horns are part of the costume.
Right. Yeah. That's my headcanon. Like even though he is a demon, he looks like a guy dressed as one.
Who are you trying to impress here?
I don't know.
Who are you trying to prove that you're a demon? You belong there.
Yeah.
You belong in hell.
Right. But it's like, again, it's like accidentally he just that like impresses Lucifer. It's like is this some kind of like weird like negative power play or something like that?
Yeah, so in the version I'm reading, which again is from elizabethandrama.org, some of the annotations that this man is putting in are like comparing it to the chapbook, the history. And there's some interesting things there about like what the chapbook says hell looks like, because here we just have to imagine hell, But so here I like this one. The history describes Lucifer's appearance as, quote, a man all hairy, but a brown color like a squirrel, curled, and his tail curling upwards on his back as the squirrels use. I think he could crack nuts, too, like a squirrel.
Did squirrels... did they have, like a more sinister, like hue to them back then? Were people like telling stories? It's like Hansel and Gretel. They went into the woods, and it was just they were owls. Oh, were there snakes, Papa? Yes, there were snakes. Oh, what else was there? Well, there were squirrels.
No, Papa, no. Squirrels that crack nuts?
Yes,
no.
just like Lucifer.
Yeah.
And were there ravens? No, there were eagles.
Right. Apparently, Hell's mascot is a squirrel.
Yeah, there you go. All right. And because he's the devil, he's like they call me D. and he's just waiting.
He's waiting.
He's waiting.
Waiting for everybody
Satan,
to
right?
figure it out.
Yeah.
Right?
But everybody already has figured it out, so they don't say anything, and they just like move on in the line, right? And they get processed and put in their little circle, and it's just Satan and Beelzebub, and he turns to him. He's like, "These nuts," because I'm a squirrel. And Beelzebub like humors him. He laughs. He's like, "Yeah, that's really good, boss."
Oh, companion deer, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's Lucifer has a demon who just follows him around and just looks at people constantly and says, "You get it? You 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 get it?"
That's my get it guy. It's like, everybody, every comedian needs a get it guy, right? And that's what he said, right? And then Howdy's like, "That's what she said." It's like, see, I love this guy. A little monkey is like, yeah. But yeah, it's okay. Wow, a squirrel. I didn't.
Yeah. You didn't picture Lucifer as a squirrel for some reason?
No. For some reason, I didn't. No.
Huh. Yeah, you got to read your chapbooks.
Yeah, right. I'm behind. Yeah. But yeah, no. Like actually, folks, this was a really scary moment in the play for the Elizabethans. Lucifer himself shows up, and I love what he says. Faustus has just finished praying to Christ to save him, and Lucifer appears and says, "Christ cannot save thy soul, for he is just. There's none but I have interest in the same." So basically, Christ doesn't want you. He's just and good. Why would he want you?
Right.
I'm your only friend now. Right? Yeah. And
that Christ knows right from wrong. Mm-hmm. And you have done wrong by betraying Christ, and yeah, absolutely, that's scary.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Like it's one thing to show up and be like, "I'm the devil, I'm gonna get you," right? But you show up and you're like, "God hates you," like God, like
he told
God,
me so.
Yeah, God doesn't, and I know I'm the devil.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had forgotten that Lucifer shows up in the play because again I'd read this, and obviously I remember Mephistopheles, but yeah, this is a big turning point. Like, Mephistopheles comes like, "I brought my boss."
Yeah. You wanted me to get the manager.
Yeah, you are not doing this right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you asked for this. Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so and Faustus knows who this is, but he asks anyway. He says, "Who are you that look so terrible?" And Lucifer says, "I am Lucifer, and this is my companion prince in hell." And saying this, he puts his hand on. Well, actually, it doesn't say whose shoulder. No, folks, it doesn't specify in the text who he is talking about.
Right.
And I think we've all concluded that is, it's Beelzebub, right? That's why he's here, right? This is the only time he shows up in the play. So, but I like to imagine that when he starts to talk, Beelzebub sort of straightens up. He takes a step forward, but then he sees Lucifer's hand on Mephistopheles' shoulder.
Oh.
And Mephistopheles looks like Steve Carell in the Office handshake meme. Right? Do you know this meme?
Yeah.
It's like he's just like this confused, slightly terrified look on his face, right? And then Beelzebub just quietly steps back.
Right, and he's got his fanny pack on in this one.
Yeah. But no, so Lucifer has intervened here to make sure Faustus remains on the curvy and wide path. Is the opposite of straight and narrow.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Get it? Get it?
We really do need this guy. Yeah. But he says, "We come to tell thee, thou dost injure us. Thou talkst of Christ contrary to thy promise. Thou shouldst not think of God. Think of the devil and of his dam too." That's D-A-M. And there's a little footnote here. The saying "the devil and his dam" was a common expression around this time. Dam can either mean someone's mother or something's mother, as like for example, like to dam is to give birth to.
Okay.
But it can also mean wife.
No.
So what do we make of this? Like, who is he talking about?
Who is the devil's wife or mother?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there a devil's wife? Is there a devil's mother? I thought the devil's wife is, the Beelzebub, the companion deer.
I think that's what he is referring to.
Uh-huh.
I think this is more explicit than Paradise Lost. I think he is. I think Marlowe is saying, like all of my joking aside, right? Marlowe is saying that Lucifer and Beelzebub are a thing. And that Beelzebub is his dam.
That's interesting. I have not seen that here, but of course, I mean, most of the Marlowe scholarship, not most of it, but a lot of the Marlowe scholarship is about Marlowe putting in homoerotic subtext to his plays.
Yeah. And in the production I saw, like Lucifer shows up with like it's kind of like a almost like a BDSM type thing because he's got him like on a chain.
Sure.
Yeah. And like Elizabethan BDSM.
Companionship, they called it back then.
Right? But it's like, oh, he's the devil, so he's a little bit naughty, right?
Okay.
Yeah. The devil and his dam.
Yeah. This is the trouble also with Elizabethan text, right? So again, this is the version I'm reading that's put together by Peter Lukács, and it says, the inclusion of this line is so out of character with the goings-on that Cunningham, some other scholar he's quoting here, suggests it was not written by Marlowe, but perhaps was a comic line added by an actor onto the printer's working script. So that's the trouble with these. So like, it's like, why is it Rafe? Why is it not the clown or whatever? Right. Like, I don't know. Maybe we fired the clown in between one version and another, and now we have another guy. But like, we don't have those answers. That it might have to be with the production of the plays themselves.
Yeah,
because Marlowe was not writing them down to be put into a library and to be sold to a touring company, licensed to a touring company, and done exactly as I say it. That's not how plays work then.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a good. Which makes these kind of like extra little like bits that are kind of confusing, almost like gems of the past, where it's like, what was like is this a joke? Like, is this like did the actor playing Lucifer was like and his dam, right?
Right, ad-libbed it, right? Yeah. And then someone's like, write that down. That's so funny. Well, and then centuries later, then we're like, this is proof of
like Marlowe wrote this,
yeah, Marlowe's queerness, and he's putting hints in his plays, right?
Yeah, and we can never know. Like, there's no way. There aren't any like hidden manuscripts or anything like that.
Right.
Like it's all just dust in the wind. It's like this is all we have.
Yeah, the wikias don't get written down until 2020.
Yeah,
so,
right. In the 21st century, even though it says 2020. Right. But yeah, there we go. So Faustus is terrified, and he quickly folds, right? He bows to Lucifer, and now he promises not only to serve him, but also to actively sabotage God's good works. He'll, quote, burn his scriptures, slay his ministers, and make his spirits pull the churches down.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, there you go. Damn. Mephistopheles says that, and Lucifer turns to him and is like, that's good.
Oh, that's good. And then he pulls another chain we didn't see, and some other demon comes out and laughs.
Right. Right. That's my laugh guy. Right. Everybody needs a dam, and then a get it guy and a laugh guy.
Just be sure you don't mix the chains up. You know what I'm saying? Wait. I'm not going to laugh here.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, this is my companion chain, and this is my dam cord, and this one here. Well, this is my laugh track.
And there we go. See?
And then this other one. Watch this when I pull this one. Oh.
Wow.
That's for when someone learns a lesson.
Oh, wait, and what does this one do?
Oh, that's the worst of all. Oh,
yeah, don't touch that ever again. Like, I thought we had labeled that one. God. Anyway. Oh, yeah, we did. We labeled it the worst of all. Okay, but yeah. Lucifer is pleased with this. He's like, great. So no more talking about God, just all devil all the time. And as a reward, you're gonna get a little show right now, right? Like, how'd you like to see the 7 deadly sins in their, quote, proper shapes, right? And Faustus says, that sight will be as pleasing unto me as paradise was to Adam the first day of his creation. And there's a record scratch, and Lucifer's like, dude, what did I just say? And he looks over at Beelzebub. He's like, geez. Oh, no. He looks over at Mephistopheles. He's like, geez, you weren't kidding.
This guy just keeps talking about God.
Yeah.
You broke up with him, dude. Like, leave him in the past.
He's over you.
He's not talking about you.
Yeah. You both have moved on, right? Like you gotta think about yourself.
Right.
Come on.
Look at you. You got your degree. You got your study.
Yeah. Here, I'll give you a get it guy.
And he hands over the chain to the get it guy, and you can just tell the get it guy is like, "Oh, I do not want to go." With Faustus. Like, no. But he just slowly walks over and just puppy dog eyes back up at Lucifer.
He has to coax him a little bit, like Faustus holding the chain now, but like he's like, come on. You're his get it guy now. Come on. He's gonna make some funny jokes, and you'll get to do your thing. Faustus, make a joke. Rector. Get a guy just immediately crosses back over.
Yeah, and reels in his cord out of
like,
Faustus's hand.
Lucifer says, "Sorry, there's nothing I can do." No. But folks, this is the part I was talking about in the last episode. This is the scene where in 1608 a production halted and people fled in terror at what they were seeing on stage. So this is kind of like this little vignette of the 7 deadly sins. And the sins show up. They appear one by one. And they're just like personified versions of their sins, right? Their names are just wrath, envy, etc., right? This, like we were talking about, like this was around the time, possibly a little bit before, Peter Binsfeld had written, the names of the 7 princes of hell, right? So there's no Mammon, there's no Belphegor, right? It's just greed and sloth, right? And they each sort of, come out and they do a little speech, right? It's like, I am envy, begotten of a chimney sweeper and an oyster wife. I cannot read, and therefore wish all books were burnt. I am lean with seeing others eat. Oh, that there would come famine through all the world, that all might die and I live alone. Then thou shouldst see how fat I would be. Right? And then the next guy comes, right? So, like, in this story, I don't even think they're demons. I think they're like just personifications of the sins.
Right.
Right? And Faustus meets each of them and has like a bitter banter with them. And each time the conversation ends with Faustus sort of getting the upper hand, right? Like he dismisses each of them with like a smirk, like, what a bunch of losers, right? And he's judging them and comparing himself to them and feeling superior and sort of falling into the trap that Lucifer has set, right? Now he feels superior and in control. He's not a slave to these 7 vices, just like he's not a slave to Lucifer or Mephistopheles, right? They serve him, right?
Yeah.
And now Lucifer begins selling him on hell and building it up like a paradise in its own right, right? And Faustus is actually longing to see it. He says, "Oh, might I see hell and return again? How happy were I then?" And Lucifer says, "Thou shalt. I will send for thee at midnight." In the meantime, take this book, peruse it thoroughly, and thou shalt turn thyself into what shape thou wilt. And Faustus says, "Great. Thanks, mighty Lucifer." And Lucifer says, "Farewell, Faustus, and think on the devil."
Who's him, I guess.
Yeah, right.
He's one of these third-person guys.
Right, because he's royal. It's the royal we.
Oh, I thought it was because he's an asshole.
It's Satan. I think he's both.
Right.
Yeah. And Faustus says farewell, and that's it. Right now he's gone.
Yeah.
Right?
It's. Obviously this isn't meant to be performed. It's not written to be performed the way you would have to perform it today after, post-method, acting revolution in theater,
Right.
But, each time a sin comes out and says it, Faustus, as you said, smirks, and it's doing that 7 times as Faustus. Yeah. You can't progress. You're gonna smirk your fucking face off at some point. Yeah. So yeah, that's the hardest part, I think, of acting as Faustus in this whole play.
Right.
Oh, another one.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm so surprised.
I'm not keeping track of how many of these 7 we're at now.
Right.
Oh, another one in your little sin. Oh,
Yes.
oh.
We've already had sloth, gluttony, pride, wrath. Sloth, gluttony, pride, wrath. Sneezy, dopey doc. Okay, there we go. All right. Oh man, this just keeps on getting better and better. We've already got pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath. Who are you? And Sloth is like, who the fuck do you think?
Right. Do you have a little poem to tell me about yourself?
Yeah.
And Sloth says, yes.
But no, actually, okay. So in the actual text, the last one is lust, and of course it's a woman.
Right.
That's because this play was written by a dude.
Yeah, apparently pride and lust are women in this one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I saw Pride played by a man.
Oh, really?
Always lust is
They're trying to break away from it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Well, but they can't not have lust be a lady. Tonight. Luck be no. But yeah, and she's the last one who shows up, and so of course we get like Faustus being like real icky. He's like, oh, and who are you? He calls her a minx, right? Mm-hmm. And it's funny because in both productions that I've encountered, right, the one that I listened to and the one that I watched, he tries to hit on her,
right,
and she rejects him, and that's when he's like, all right, we're done with this. I'm bored of this now. This is beneath me. So he is like smirking and smirking. Is like, this gluttonous, wretch and this prideful bastard. And then it's like, oh, who are you? And she's like, ew. And he's like, all right, I'm done. I didn't want this.
I don't want this. Right, this isn't going the way I wanted.
No.
Mm-hmm. She says like, I love an inch of raw mutton, and I think it is. I mean, apparently, whenever I see that, I'm like, was the Elizabethan mind dirty in the same way that ours is? And apparently, yes, that is a dick joke.
Oh yeah, of course, right? And he's like, well, get ready for an inch and a half. Baby. Yeah.
Oh man.
She's like, actually, I'm just talking about mutton. I'm actually talking about that. But yeah, folks, that is Act 2. Now, you might be asking, hey, what was so scary about that?
Yeah, what was so scary about that?
Yeah, well, okay, yeah. Remember, I said, like, this scene caused a crowd in 1608 to run away in terror, right? And it wasn't Faustus being icky, because they knew that was part of the play.
Right.
But according to an account, someone noticed that during the bit with the 7 deadly sins, there were actually 8 devils on stage. And so they concluded that Marlowe's use of authentic incantations actually summoned a real devil amongst the actors. And yes, that was enough to cause a stampede of theatergoers fleeing for their lives, for their souls. Right? So actors, just remember, when you miss your cue, come on too early or too late, the devils win. But I'm pretty that's exactly what happened, right? Like somebody was up on stage when they shouldn't have been, and it caused this whole.
I guess so. I wonder who it could be.
It had to be. The alternative is there was a devil, But it's just like the Elizabethans. They might have miscounted even.
Right.
There might have actually been 7 up there, and it's like.
Yeah, they're half drunk
and there was
when they go in, right?
Yeah, it was a Robin or a Rafe in the audience. He was like 1, 2, 3. Oh my god!
Oh my god! It's a Robin.
It's a squirrel.
Yeah, I will have to look more into that about why why squirrels remind people of the devil.
Now I'm interested in
the
that.
chapbook author, thought of squirrels and devils being related.
I can see now, because like the devil is such a done to death thing that now our devils are kind of like, they're scary when they're a little bit silly, right? Like Peter Stormare in Constantine, he's kind of like he's like, oh, he's so old that he's like he's gone a little crazy, right? And it's like, and that's cool. So it's like, oh yeah, he posed, or like our guy, right? Like posing as a little cherub, right? Like that's interesting because he's like hiding, like something much worse behind this like silly facade,
right?
But they're saying that the facade of the squirrel is actually the scary thing.
Yeah, because its tail fluffs up and its tail is as tall as the body of the animal.
And just like you see what he does with those nuts. And how many he can hold.
Right.
It's witchcraft right there.
Cracker nuts.
Damn near killed her. But yeah, folks, that is all of my notes. Come back next week for Act 3 of everything you always wanted to know about the tragical history and historical tragedy of the so-called life and death of Dr. Faustus, the German who went up a hill and came down a mountain. But we're afraid to ask. Keenan, you got anything else?
No, I think we got it.
All right, folks, this has been The Devil's Details. I've been Lester Ryan Clark. You can summon me on all the socials as Lester Ryan Clark.
And I've been Keenan Diaz, and you can invoke me on Instagram and Letterboxd as Howdy Keenan.
Yeah, we got our listener group, Banana for Scale. That's a community for all of our shows, including this one. It's a private group. Just request to join, and we'll let you in. If you want more, consider joining us at truestory.fm/join and look for Banana for Scale. That's us. You get bonus episodes of all our shows, access to our Discord, and you get your episodes a week early. Pretty cool. Wouldst thou like to live deliciously? We're not even asking for your souls. Just give us a 5 pentagram rating on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to our show. That and sharing the show by word of mouth or on social media helps our little podcast grow and find more cool people like you. Okay, folks, that's it for this week. Until next time, love and hisses. Mwah!